We are back here at Onkovigan, and in today's class, we will be covering a very interesting topic because it's just synonyms and antonyms. So I've always been fascinated by different types of words in English language, and this is why synonyms and antonyms are actually very interesting to me, at least. This is something that you do not have to memorize. A lot of people think that we need to memorize synonyms and antonyms in order for us to understand them and answer them properly. But the more you read storybooks, the more you practice, the more you speak with each other, the more you listen to native speakers, you watch movies and whatnot, the better you will be at your understanding part of synonyms and antonyms and when to use what. At first, we need to know what the word synonym means. So you can see already in the board that what is a synonym? A synonym is a word that means exactly the same as, or it is nearly the same, or we can even say that it is another word that is in the particular same language. For example, close. The word close is what? The word close is a synonym of shut. So why did I particularly say that close is a synonym of shut? In the case of close, if I say any other word, those can actually also be used in the same manner. But this is how synonyms work. Even in the sense of close, if you use any other words, those will still be fine. Now, in the case of antonyms, we know that antonym is a word that actually means the opposite of that word. So example, bad is an antonym of good. So in the case of bad, you can also say awful, you can say terrible, you can say horrifying, and whatever you want to say in that sense. All of these senses will all mean the same, but you have to use something that you're confident in. Make sure that the word that you're trying to say is actually a word that you are confident that is going to be correct. So if it is any particular word that you are not confident in, you know that it's a very fancy word, but what if this actually does not mean what you're trying to mean it? In that case, your entire statement is going to be wrong and you are going to lose marks. So make sure you do not do that. Next we see some rules of how to form these antonyms. So I can use prefixes, as you can see on the board. So what are prefixes? Prefixes are words that are few letters that you can use in the beginning of words in order to make sure that your word that you're trying to say is actually different of what your entire sentence or what your entire word means. Okay, so in this case, you see prefixes like d, dis, il, im, ir, on. All of these are words that can actually change the entire meaning of your word. It can convert your sentence entirely from a synonym to an antonym. For example, definitely for words like, let's say, iridescent, that is when we can start with the word letters I and R, right? For words that you can say like stoppable. So in the case of stoppable, if you just use the word un, it will be what? Unstoppable. So exactly, you have converted your word from a totally synonym to having a totally different word, right? So this is how you can change the meanings. So let's look at a few examples. Now, in these examples, we are using a prefix which is un. So with the words un, what have you done? The word able. Able means having the ability to do something, having the capacity, having the wish or the understandability of doing something. So the word able has now been turned into unable. Both of these are adjectives. Then selfish. The word selfish has now been converted to unselfish, which is another adjective. The word do is now undo, which is a verb, right? So this is how all of these words have had the prefix which is un attached to it, and that is how we have changed the entire meaning of the word. Let us look at a few examples for in, okay? So like decent, the word in. has now been from decent to indecent. Tolerant. Tolerant means having the ability to be, instead of tolerant, what I can say that having the ability to just get along with that person, no matter how disturbing or whatever that person may be, you are liking all sides of that person, so you're tolerating, right? So if you do not think that no, you cannot handle this anymore, in that case that person will be intolerant for you. Human. So human, the word human is definitely a noun, but in this case you're trying to use it as an adjective. If I say that you're a human, I am meaning you in a good sense. This means that you're a good person, you are helping the community, you are doing good for the world, right? So this is how I am trying to say that you are a human. And at the same time, if I say you're inhuman, this means that you're doing something that is immoral, that is unjustified, that is that actually is unethical in various reasons. Okay? Now, let's look at a few examples by using the word non. So, non definitely comes from the word no. So definitely whatever word that you have, whatever synonym you have, the word non is going to completely change the word to its other form, right? So I'm using the word non. How? Like conformist. Conformist is someone who is obliging to everything you say. Let's say if the authority or if the government makes a rash decision, if the government makes a decision that you are uninterested about, that you are not supporting, you're unsupportive of, in that case you will say that I am not conforming to it. So you are a non-conformist, okay? And if you are okay with it, or if you are actually saying that no, whatever the government is saying is fine, in that case you are a conformist. Alright, then essential. So essential means something that's important. So in this case it will be non-essential. Then sense. Sense is a noun, right? So sense is now nonsense. If I say that you are a nonsense or you have nonsense, it means that you lack the sense or you lack the ability to understand what is correct and what is not. The common etiquettes or the common abilities to understand what is right and what is wrong. So if you do not have those common abilities, in that case I will say that you are nonsense. Okay? Then we see another way of how to form antonyms, and this time we are using suffixes. So what are suffixes? Suffixes are whenever there are 2 or 3 letters that we use right after a word in order to once again change from synonym to antonym. So in this class we are actually learning many different words, and we are also learning how to convert from synonyms to antonyms, because that is how these will come in your exam. In your exam you will find a passage and there will be many words that are underlined, and in brackets you will see that they will either tell you to convert this particular word from this word to a synonym or convert it into an antonym, either or. So whichever this may be, you have to understand the meaning of the word, and after that you have to put them accordingly, right? So you can use the word less as well, like careful. So in the case of careful, in the case of fool, if I cut the fool, then I will just put less, then it will be careless. Careful means I have a lot of care. I am particularly considerate about what is happening in this case, right? And careless means that no, whatever is happening, I do not have that much care or knowledge or the interest to have that type of passion or willingness anymore. Then you see hopeful. So hopeful, once again I have cut the full out and I have added less. So this is how from hopeful it is right now hopeless. Okay, so this is how we can form different antonyms. Then Another way of forming antonyms is neither by using prefixes nor by using suffixes. This is how we are using a totally different word, and in this case we definitely need to learn these usages of words, right? Or other cases we cannot just put any prefixes, suffixes and let it go. Like the opposite of rich is poor. So the words poor have no letters which are in connection or that are exactly the same to the word rich, right? So it's totally different, and there's no other way of understanding this if you do not know their meanings. Then good, the opposite of good is bad, right? This is once again totally different. Then all, the opposite of all is none. Let's say happy. So the opposite of happy can be sad. So sad is totally an antonym of happy, where all the letters are different and it's using a totally different word. But another antonym of happy can be unhappy. So in this case, you have put the words on, like you have to put the words letter on, which is what? Which is definitely a prefix, because you have put a prefix here. For this reason, this is not a totally different word, but this once again is another way of how you can form antonyms. So there are some particular words where the different word that you can mean can also be done by using suffixes and